What's good, y'all? Elvis here, back again with another episode of Better Barbering. For my new people, Better Barbering is a series that I started where I share tips and tricks that made me a better barber that other people use to make them better barbers, and I do the better people. But today I'm outlining the importance of networking. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that y'all have heard the cliche saying, your network is your net worth. It is for sure an oversimplification, but it is undeniably true. It's not about what you know, but who you know. It's all about who you're connected with and the quality of connection that you have. And debatably, a barber without a network is not a barber. That's a person that just cuts hair. But because to be a barber, you have to have clients. Otherwise, you're just somebody who cuts hair. There is no barbering business without a network. And one thing that kind of annoys me whenever people are talking about networking, especially as if you're like an independent contractor or a barber or something, or especially if you're like an entrepreneur or something where you got to go ahead and make your own connections and shake hands and politic with people. All connections are not created equal. Like, I have a big network. And in that network, there's a vast amount of people that feel connected to me in that network. But they're not people that can call and get some type of favor or cosign or anything of that matter. They're just people that I'm associated with or I know through so-and-so and so-and-so. So not every connection that you have with people is going to be that valuable. Of course, all connections and relationships you have some type of value. I'm talking about like a specific practical value. Like, there's some people you know, they're not going to connect you with a money opportunity, but they might connect you with something that will help you grow emotionally or spiritually or whatever. Like, don't just write off all your connections because they can't make you some money or take you to a specific place. If you're only valuing connections with people that are practical in the short-term sense, you're not really making meaningful connections. You're just using people. Another thing that I feel like is kind of overlooked about networks generally is what I consider meaningful networks are just webs of people exchanging value between one another. I know a lot of people with like a large web of connections. A lot of those connections don't give value, they just drain value. But a lot of those kind of draining relationships are like family or friends. Those kind of relationships be draining people financially, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and all those things. But what I consider meaningful or mutually beneficial connections, exchange value and exchange energy. If you're in an interaction where you're constantly giving and giving and giving and giving to somebody who you don't necessarily owe or have responsibility to for real, that's a parasitic relationship. And if you're on the receiving end of that, not trying to give value, you're a parasite. No offense, of course. And that's not me talking shit. Like, it can be debated that kids are parasites, but I think within a healthy parent-child relationship, sure, kids is using up all the money, all the time and energy, but there's an exchange of energy and bonding. You know, there's a sentimental and purpose value and all. There's a bunch of shit. Like, having a child is not just one big favor. If you can do it right, it benefits you too. So if you're trying to make the business equivalent of a meaningful connection with somebody, you have to make sure you're bringing value on the front end, because otherwise you're basically another person with your hand out, palm up. And I'm stressing this because from the perspective of somebody who's at the center of a meaningful network, everybody I'm around, I'm trying to put value into. And all the people around me are trying to put value back into me. So when I run into somebody who's just trying to receive, I already know that's not value that's going to be reciprocated, that's not going to grow the collective. So automatically that becomes less of a priority. Like, I don't mind helping people that want some help, but you have to prioritize the things that give you the most value back first. And then work your way to the things that are more of a, I don't want to say like charity, but you get what I'm saying. Like if you got bills to pay and then somebody's asking for a loan, you're not going to give them the loan before you pay your bills. It's similar to that. Like, people that are in valuable networks value their time and energy immensely. And then if you're already accustomed to exchanging time and energy and value with people and being generous with it, and the people that you're being generous are generous back with you, so you're constantly pouring into each other's cups, it's not worth it to constantly be pouring into other people's cups that will not pour back into you. The kind of value that each individual is looking for, varies a lot. You'd have to learn a little bit about who you're specifically talking to, or let's say try to make a connection and see where you can add value, then offer value that is not you over leveraging yourself. Just like the person that is a valuable connection that you're trying to make, I would say be generous, but do not over leverage yourself. That's going to be confusing to a lot of people because most people associate generosity with like giving all you got. That's just never wise for real. All the valuable connections in my network, I'm generous as hell with my time and any information or my energy. I'm generous with it. I'm very picky on who I share my time with, but if I think somebody's worthy of me spending time with, I'm willing to give a good chunk of my time, even if it's something that doesn't necessarily make me money. But if you take anything away from this video, what I'm about to say needs to be it. When you're trying to network with people, do not ask for favors and cosigns. And I get it. That's the main reason people be trying to network. to get favors and get cosigns, to make leaps and bounds and move forward and grow and all that stuff. I get it. But it's one thing when somebody who you consider a valuable connection sees your potential and then gives you a cosign. It's another thing when you're on the front end asking for a cosign when they don't even know you like that. But not even just like if they don't know you, but even if they do know you, regardless of what your industry, if whatever your product is does not meet expectations, your cosign means nothing. How many times have you listened to a song by somebody you don't know featuring somebody famous, and that feature made you like the song, but then you go back to the other artist's discography and you realize, oh, I don't like any of their other music. The cosign or the clout that you got from somebody else does not mean anything. And the same goes for artists, barbers, photographers, whatever. Like, I just recently raised my price. Now a lot of my previous clients can't come to me just because it doesn't make financial sense for them. And that's no problem at all, because I don't mind just sending my clients recommendations. But sometimes I have some barbers come to me asking like, oh, hey, can you recommend some clients to me? And they want a shout out, they want this and this and that. And I make recommendations to my clients all the time if they're out of town or I'm booked up to other barbers they can get cut by. But my recommendation doesn't mean anything if my client doesn't value their service the same. Like right now, my price is $50 for a haircut. There's a lot of clients that I would send them to that I think cut decently at $25. Even if the service is good, if they valued my service more and they valued the $50 that they would have to pay less, they would just keep coming to me. Regardless of how good that other barber is, each individual has an idea of what they value and what they're willing to exchange for that. The other dude could cut way better than me, but they like my conversation more and they'll pay for that. Clients do that all the time. All right, and if I know you, this might sound like it's personal, but it is not. It is not. But if you are a person that has a craft that you are doing on the side, and every time I talk to you, you're talking about your main job, not about your craft, don't ask me to promote for you. It's nobody's job to promote for you. That should be your own priority. That should be your number one concern. That actually makes me think of another thing. The quality and the purpose of my network changed over the course of my business. When I first started, I was trying to meet a bunch of people, cut a bunch of hair. So I had a good amount of clients, but all the relationships I was making were transactional relationships. I consider that to be a time back when I was selling haircuts. People only valued me based off of their value of the haircut. But over time, as I developed and my business developed with me, very few of the relationships I have are just transactional. They're all people that still pay me, but they don't value me just off of the haircut. They value my connection with me because of the value that I bring to them. That's what people pay me for. They don't pay me $50 to just make their hair look a certain way. They pay me $50 for my time and my energy and my expertise and all the other value that I bring outside of just the haircut. And now I've tailored my clientele to be all people that I authentically connect with. Like they're all people that I at least vibe with. Like 90% of them are all people that would be my friends if I spent more time with them. But all that came from me prioritizing the value that I was exchanging with people. Not even just the money and my time and all that stuff, but like energy. As a barber, most of the people that are gonna have strictly transactional relationships with you are not people that are trying to bring you any other kind of value as far as emotional, spiritual. They don't, most of the time they don't care about you at all. They just see you as a service. They don't see you. And have a bunch of those connections would only benefit you monetarily, but it would drain from you in every other way. People would not pay my current price if they did not value me. And making sure that I prioritize the value in my network, in the connections I was making with people, is what allowed me to charge the price that I charge now. Because you don't have to chase money, you just have to pursue value. And the money will follow the value. All right, that's my video for today. If y'all got any dope networking tips or got any questions, go ahead and share it with us in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and like, subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. If you haven't already follow me on Instagram at CutsByElvis. But till next time, Craft Over Clout, I'm out.